OpenClaw 3.13 is insane. Here's why. Most people are still using AI assistants the hard way, switching tabs, switching apps, losing your train of thought every 5 minutes, and the tools keep updating and you keep missing it. OpenClaw just dropped version 3.13, and there's one feature in here that changes everything about browser automation. I'm going to show you exactly what's new, why it matters, and how to think about using it. Stay with me. My name is Julian, and I help people actually learn and use AI tools in their day-to-day work. Not the hype version, the real version. And today we are breaking down OpenClaw 2026.3.13, which dropped on March 14th, 2026. This is one of the most interesting releases in a while, and there is a lot to cover. We have got a headline feature that I think is genuinely useful for anyone doing browser-based workflows. We have got a big mobile update, and there are some under-the-hood fixes that make the whole thing more stable. Let me walk you through all of it. First, if you are new to OpenClaw, 30 seconds of context. OpenClaw is a personal AI assistant that you run on your own machine. It works on macOS, Linux, and Windows. You connect it to whatever AI model you prefer. That could be Claude, GPT 5.4, Gemini, or even a local model running through Ollama. And then instead of going to a separate app to chat with your AI, it shows up in the apps you already use every single day: WhatsApp, Telegram, Slack, Discord, iMessage, Signal, Microsoft Teams, Google Chat, and a lot more. The whole idea is your AI lives where you live. You do not go to it. It comes to you. Right now, this project has over 310,000 stars on GitHub and over 2.2 million weekly downloads from the NPM package alone. Let me start with the headline. The biggest feature in 3.13 is live Chrome session attachment. Here is the problem it solves. OpenClaw has had browser automation for a while. It could open a browser, go to a page, click things, fill out forms, run tasks. But every time it opened that browser, it was a fresh session. You were not logged into anything. Every time you tried to automate something that required you to be signed in, you had to deal with authentication. That friction made browser automation a lot less useful for real work. In 3.13, they added official Chrome DevTools protocol attach mode. OpenClaw can now connect directly to your real Chrome browser, the one already open, already signed in. Your Gmail, your dashboards, your SaaS tools, all of it. No extensions, no extra setup, one toggle. Your AI can see what you see and interact with pages you are already authenticated into. That is a completely different level of what is possible here. And they also added batched browser actions in this release. Before, browser automation was one action at a time. Now you can send multiple browser actions together in a single batch, selector targeting, delayed clicks, normalized dispatch. This makes complex multi-step browser automation significantly faster and more reliable. This is a good spot for a quick pause. When I first started using OpenClaw, I was honestly overwhelmed. There are a lot of moving parts: models, channels, gateway setup, agents, memory, browser tools. I did not know which workflows were worth building and which were going to be a waste of time. That is when I found a community called AI Profit Boardroom. Over 2,000 members, all focused on learning AI tools together and sharing what actually works, not theory, real workflows, real setups, real feedback on what saves time versus what sounds good but does not actually work in practice. The community shares practical implementations and real use cases. If you are serious about using AI to improve your work and skills, check it out. Link is in the description. Now let me talk about mobile, because this update is bigger on mobile than most releases. On Android, the entire chat settings interface was redesigned in 3.13. They regrouped the device and media sections, refreshed the connect and voice tabs, and tightened up the chat composer and session header. But the bigger Android news is the app size. The Android build is now down to roughly 7 megabytes. That is a dramatic reduction from where it was. Smaller app, faster installs, better performance on lower-end devices. If you have been using OpenClaw and Android, and it felt heavy, this release should feel noticeably lighter. On iOS, they added a first-run welcome pager. New users now see an introduction screen before gateway setup starts. The app no longer auto-opens the QR scanner the moment you launch it, which was apparently jarring for people setting it up for the first time. They also added clearer pairing instructions, so the initial device setup is more guided. These are small changes, but they make a real difference for anyone new to the tool. Let me talk about Windows, because there were several meaningful gateway fixes in 3.13 that Windows users specifically will care about. First, they fixed the gateway install command. On some Windows setups, the task creation was hanging indefinitely and never completing. Now it has a timeout and falls back to a startup folder install instead of freezing. Second, they fixed gateway stop. The command was not actually stopping fallback launched gateway processes before restart. Now it does. Third, they fixed gateway status reporting. When using a startup folder gateway, the status command was falling back to showing unknown for the port and running state. Now it correctly reads and reports the actual configured port and running state. Fourth, they fixed an authentication noise issue where Windows agent replies were logging stale device signature errors before succeeding. That is cleaned up now. If you are running OpenClaw natively on Windows, these 4 fixes together make the gateway experience a lot more reliable. A few more things worth knowing in 3.13. Docker users now have a time zone override option. The new OpenClaw TZ environment variable lets you set the time zone inside the container directly, rather than having it inherit from the daemon default. If you are running OpenClaw on a server or cloud instance, this is something you will appreciate. For agent users, there was an important fix around session resets. OpenClaw was not correctly preserving the last account ID and last thread ID when a session was reset. That data is now preserved through resets, which matters for multi-channel setups where continuity across sessions is important. The default model in the test suite was also updated from GPT 5.3 codecs to GPT 5.4. This is the latest fast OpenAI model. It tells you what the team is testing and optimizing against right now. On the stability side, there were a few fixes that affect everyone using the tool regularly. The dashboard UI had a significant bug where it was reloading the full chat history every time a live tool result came in during a run. If you were running a tool-heavy agent session and the dashboard felt slow or kept flickering, this was why. That is fixed in 3.13. The gateway now correctly bounds unanswered client requests with a timeout instead of letting them accumulate as hanging promises indefinitely. Over time, stalled connections were creating a slow memory leak. That is resolved. The compaction system, which is how OpenClaw manages long conversations so they do not exceed model context limits, now uses the full session token count for its post-compaction sanity check. This makes compaction more accurate and less likely to produce sessions that break unexpectedly. And there is a fix that prevents an Anthropic provider startup crash that was happening in certain config states. Good one to have if you are running Claude models through OpenClaw. OpenClaw is moving fast. Version 3.11 added multimodal memory and Gemini memory search. Version 3.12 added GPT 5.4 fast mode sessions and Kubernetes deployment support. And now 3.13 brings live browser session attachment, a leaner Android app, and a more stable gateway across every platform. Each release builds on the last, and the pace is not slowing down. I will cover updates as they land, so make sure you are subscribed. If you want to go deeper on using AI tools like OpenClaw and actually get them working in your real workflow, I recommend AI Profit Boardroom. Over 2,000 people learning how to use AI tools effectively. Everyone shares what is working, what is not, which tools are worth your time, and which ones to skip. No hype. Just solid, practical information from people doing the work. It has helped me stay on top of releases like this and figure out how to actually apply them. Link in the description if you want to check it out. And if you want the full process SOPs and 100 plus AI use cases like this one, join the AI Success Lab. Links are in the comments and description. You will get all the video notes from there, plus access to our community of 58,000 members who are crushing it with AI every day. See you in the next one.